Hello and welcome, bookworms. Welcome to this week's episode of The Contented Narrative. We are looking at The Book of Accidents by Chuck Wendig. So this is an interesting book. And basically it follows Nathan, who lived in this house with his abusive dad for years. And long ago as well. So Nathan lived in a house with his abusive dad. Maddie saw something when she was younger that she shouldn't have seen, and then essentially they are married and they've moved back to the hometown with the house and everything like that, and sort of unpacking that baggage. And Nathan and Maddie have a child, and then what happened a long time ago is kind of happening again, but it's happening to their son, and it's sort of like a supernatural thing. So Maddie's got her past, Nathan's got his past, and they're trying so hard to make sure that their son is still having a happy childhood, but the son is kind of being caught up in these events that are happening. Overall, it was a good book. It was a good book. It started off well, it ended well. I was a little bit disappointed with kind of how it ended. I was a bit like, okay, but I understood why it ended the way it ended. But I do feel like in the middle, it kind of lost its voice a bit. So it reaches a point where it's sort of like you've got all these characters that are interacting. You've got Nathan who's trying to figure out what's going on. You've got Maddie who's starting to unlock, being like, something's not right here. The son that's encountering it. You've got the neighbour who's helping out, but is he helping out? And then you've got this strange figure that's like living in the mines that's come from nowhere. And then it starts bringing in like alternative timelines and alternative people. And, and it just, I felt like it started with a distinct voice. And you're like, right, okay, I can get behind these characters. I know what their motivations are. I know what we're doing. And then it kind of started going, right, okay, so we're going to bring in this weirdness and this weirdness and this weirdness. And you're like, that's too much. That's too much. Like, focus on one or the other. Like, you're bringing in too many things that it doesn't make sense. And at one point I was kind of like, and I try so hard not to put books down. It is, honestly, it has to be really bad for me to put books down. I think I've put down 3 in the entirety of the books I've ever read, where I've put it down and gone, I can't finish this. And it took me 4 months to finish the Tommyknockers, so I'm just saying. But like, so even Stephen King has flops, just saying. I mean, I don't even know if that was a flop, but I hated it. But it reached a point where I was like really, really struggling, because I was struggling to figure out where these characters were fitting. I was struggling to figure out what the plot was trying to do. I was struggling to figure out like where it was actually going. And then it kind of pulled itself back together, understood what it wanted its characters to do, understood where the ending was going to be, and you could kind of then see it. It sort of like went, ooh, yep, okay, we're back on track. And as I said, it ended in a way that you're kind of disappointed with how it ended. Well, I was disappointed with how it ended, and I felt like it was a bit like, did you have to end it like that? But again, I understood why they ended it like that, because of the characters themselves, like the way that Nathan's story ended, the way that Maddie's story ended, and their son's story ended, and the neighbours and everything like that. I could understand how everything kind of put together, which was really good, which as I said, got back on track. So it's one that I wouldn't, I mean, obviously it's on this channel because it was a good book. It was. And if you can get past sort of like the middle section, which is like about 100 pages or so, where it just went a bit off the rails, I think you would definitely enjoy this. And that's why I'm putting this on this channel, because I try on this channel to put forward books that I really, really enjoyed and I really, really liked. But sometimes I do like putting books forward that go, maybe it wasn't, maybe I just didn't understand it. That's why I thought it was too many things and got a little bit off track. So maybe you give this book a read and you put a comment being like, well, actually, it made perfect sense to me. There was no problem whatsoever. I didn't have an issue. I didn't want to put it down at any point. So I don't know what you're going on about. And that's fine by me, because what is very important for me is these books I'm putting forward is because I've read them and I've liked them for a point. Not everyone is going to like the books that I recommend. I don't like the books there are some books that people have recommended to me that I've read and gone, really? Okay. But again, I'll always be nice about it. But this is the thing, is like, if you agree or disagree with anything that I'm saying, I'm not going to be mad at you. You know, you've got a different point of view. That's absolutely not a problem. So give it a read. Let me know if you do have a different point of view from me. Let me know if I was just not grasping it. But thank you so much for your continued support, as I say every week, and I genuinely do mean it from the bottom of my heart. So thank you, and remember to always keep it contento.